Go there, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's how we come.
Oh, English though. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnuvad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Anandodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siddhaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Whoa. Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagat Asami ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories of the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Come in, Houston. Okay, this works. Well, back to home, back to Denmark. I first visited Denmark in 1968 when I was a very sincere, crazy 19-year-old university student. And actually I thought Denmark was one of the nicest countries in Europe, even back then. So, which verse? My choice, or how do we do this?
Your choice.
See, Krishna, please. Krishna here. Oh. Okay. Pick one of Krishna's more subversive verses. Chapter 18, text 54, Prabhupada Bhagavad-gita as it is. Brahma bhuta prasannatana sochatina kamshati samat sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. After all these years, it's supposed to put your head back more. I was impatient. You, Hare Krishna. It's an occupational hazard in Vaishnava culture. So, the translation for this verse. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Prabhupada's purport. To the impersonalist, achieving the Brahma-bhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation, called Brahma-bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto Him. In the Absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor, yet the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. In the material concept of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity engaged in God's service and Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain, because he is full in the Lord's service. He has no desire for material enjoyment, because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral, temporary appearances or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahma-bhuta stage, and this stage is attained very easily by the pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilating one's individuality becomes hellish. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes phantasmagoria, and the senses are like serpents whose poison teeth are broken. As there is no fear of a serpent with broken teeth, there is no fear from the senses when they are automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the materially infected person, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age. Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Sochatina Kamchati Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakting Lapate Param. So, Krishna speaks of a person, a devotee who has become Brahma Bhuta. Bhuta means one who has become. So, one who has become Brahman, one who is existing as Brahman, or spiritually. Prabhupada gave a simple example. If you have a lot of money, but you don't have access to your money, there's a really interesting French story, The Count of Monte Cristo, where there's buried treasure. Anyway, the idea is if you have money in the bank or a buried treasure, but you don't know where it is, or you don't have access to it, or for some reason, legal or physical or psychological, whatever, you don't have access to your money, then you can't really enjoy it. You can't really live on that level of prosperity. So we are spiritual beings. Krishna explains in Bhagavad-gita 15:7, Mamaivam Sichivaloke, every one of us is actually part of God. That is very good news. The bad news is we've forgotten that. So we're not able to actually live on that level. We are radically underestimating ourselves. If we take ourselves to be the body because of our attachment, we are, as I said, dramatically underestimating ourselves because we are something far greater than the body. We are something far greater than the body. It's like someone who's beautiful but thinks they're ugly, or someone who's rich but thinks they're poor. Actually, we are all part of Krishna. So rather than just try to make the body beautiful, I mean, we should keep the body reasonably well groomed and all that. You don't have to make extra efforts to be hideous. But the point is, rather than trying to impress the world, I'm so beautiful, I'm so intelligent. Of course, at my age, the beauty thing is not really an option, but still, I mean, even the pauper is proud of his penny. Even someone, no matter what age you are, no matter what your condition is, someone can try to impress other people by their beauty, their strength, their intelligence, their money, their social status. But actually, we are promoting the body. And we're not the body, so why not promote yourself? Why not do something good for yourself? Material life is so silly, people don't even know how to be selfish. So, that's the idea. Brahma Bhuta means you actually exist on the spiritual platform. You are in touch with your real self. And it is satisfying. Until we become self-satisfied, we will always embarrass ourselves. Because we have to be beggars, whether you're begging for money on the street or begging for attention. In both cases, it's not very dignified. And, for example, if someone is needy, or as they say in English nowadays, high maintenance, because when we're needy, we have to go begging for attention. Do you love me? Can you give me attention? Do you care about me? I'm lonely. It happens. I mean, in one sense, it's normal in this material world. It's just that it puts us in a very embarrassing situation. Because if I'm needy, if I'm not satisfied in myself, then I can't follow my own choices. I don't have that freedom. For example, if you're very hungry and you want to go this way, but the food is that way, you have to go that way. Or you may enter into a relationship which is really inappropriate, someone who is not worthy of you. And so this neediness thing is you can't be free. It's not real freedom. We don't have the freedom to choose what we really want, to associate with people that actually deserve to be our friends. So Krishna says here that if we understand who we really are, we're actually spiritual beings. We're not really these bodies. You may have heard that. That's one of the esoteric doctrines of the Hare Krishna movement that's hardly ever spoken, that we are not the body. Anyway, so if we understand who we really are, then prasannatma. Prasanna is very interesting. The word prasanna is the past passive participle from the verb from which you get the word prasadam. Prasadam means mercy or grace. So someone who has been blessed or graced, someone who therefore is happy and satisfied, is called prasanna. That's what the word prasanna means. So a prasannatma, a blessed soul, or a soul who is happy, who is satisfied because they've been blessed, they've been graced. Prasannatma. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, and in that condition, the Shochati, we don't lament. Nakangshati, we don't hanker. It's interesting because if you think about it, in a sense, our conception of time is really psychologically constructed. Because it's the fact that we lament that creates in our mind the sense of past. The sense of past, because if everything that existed yesterday still exists today, there's no loss. Even though, if you think about it, we can separate two different events. One physical, the other somewhat psychological. The physical event is, for example, the earth is going around the sun. I almost said the sun is going around, but I will not fall into geocentrism here. But from a phenomenological perspective, in other words, from how it looks to an observer, of course the sun goes around the earth goes around the sun, whatever. It amounts to the same experience. And so, for example, now the sun is setting and the day is ending, as many poets have said. So, and tomorrow the sun comes up in another day. So those are physical events. Either if you judge time by the movements of celestial bodies like the sun and the moon, or if you have an hourglass, one of those glasses with the sand falling down, or a watch. If you think about it, all the ways we measure time are merely physical actions. They're just physical actions. But time itself, not the measuring device, not the fact that so much sand has fallen into the bottom of the glass, or the sun has gone around, or on your watch. Not those physical events, but the psychological or the conscious perception of a past, present, future. One does not necessarily require the other. In other words, we can imagine a world in which you saw events like that. You saw the sun, the earth going around the sun. It looks like the sun is going around the earth or whatever. You could see all these events. You could see the hands on a watch moving, and yet you would not have the emotional or the psychological sensation of past, present, and future. So what is it that really makes us feel that there is a past? In fact, it's so strong that there's a whole genre of Hollywood movies. I'm from Los Angeles, so Ask me anything about movies. Anyway, there's a whole genre of movies in Hollywood of time travel. Time travel really doesn't happen. If you think about it, in the Bhagavatam, there are different systems of time on different planets. So that, let's say if you go to a heavenly planet and then come back 10 minutes later, you're in the wrong yuga, and so on. But that's not time travel. It just means that things move at different speeds. But time travel, where you go back to the past, or go into the future, or a Terminator comes from the future to the past. I mean, it's a whole genre. There's like a long list of movies about time travel. But it doesn't really happen, because you can see that for those who are in material consciousness, the sense of the past is a real thing. They can't let go of it. And there's that yearning or that imagination that the past is somehow still there and you can go to it. Or the future, even though it hasn't happened, somehow exists and you can access the future. I mean, Hollywood never was very good at philosophy. Or even at science, actually. But it shows you how powerful, because the past doesn't exist. There is no past to go to. There is no future to go to. Because the future, by definition, hasn't happened yet. There's no future to go to. So don't believe in time travel. But the point here is that even though the past doesn't exist, actually, and the future doesn't exist, they both exist emotionally inside of us. Psychologically, emotionally, the past and future are still in us. And I'm sure you've all read, basic books on psychology and all that, being stuck in the past, living for the future. But Krishna says here that when you become Brahma-bhuta, when you understand your real self, when you become actually satisfied, then nashochati, one does not lament for the past. So if there's nothing that ever happened that you want to bring back, like what if I had stayed instead of going? What if I'd gone instead of staying? There's these movies, that's another genre of movie, or someone goes back to their life, and what if I had made a different choice and they lived their whole life as it would have happened? But if you're satisfied with your life, then there's no sense of loss. If there's no sense of loss, there's no emotional sense of past. And similarly, if you're satisfied, then the future is just, more bliss, more bundles of bliss. So even though you may have hopes for the future or plans for the future, but basically you're really happy right now. And therefore the future doesn't exist as a real object of your emotions. And so in that sense, one lives in the present. One lives fully in the present, and because you're not giving merely 1/3 of your consciousness to the present. I mean, some people give much less than that. Some people give like 2%. When something happens, like, oh my God, you don't love me anymore. And then it's like everything goes into the past. So at any given moment, someone may be actually engaging a very small amount of their consciousness in what's really happening to them. So that's what Krishna is talking about. Because Krishna is here right now. And Krishna is right in front of us. And if we live in the present, then you get to be with Krishna. You get to see Krishna. So, and then here's the point Krishna makes. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu. Equal to all beings. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu. Mad bhakting labate param. One achieves the highest bhakti. Mad bhakting labate param. Param means bhakti, the highest bhakti. So, it's very interesting here. This idea of being equal to all living beings has again, an emotional and a moral aspect. For example, being equal to all living beings is required for justice. That's what justice means. You give everyone what they actually deserve. Well, some people gave them what they deserve. Anyway. But in the sense that you're fair, you're equal to everyone. You're equal to everyone. And You don't try to exploit anyone. We don't hate anyone. We're not attached to anyone because souls are not like a commodity, like this is my bicycle, don't touch it. Like this is my soul, don't touch it. In the sense of like I own this other person. It's interesting how Krishna constantly uses these two words together, aham, mama, I and mine. So, if I'm self-centered, what does it mean to be self-centered? The word for self-centered, in Sanskrit they would say ahankara, we translate false ego, but it really means something like self-centered. And so, if I'm self-centered, what does that mean? It means I think everything exists for me, everything revolves around me. Just like, why is the solar system called the solar system? Because sol in Latin means sun, and because it's the sun system. So, if I think I'm the center, then I think that the whole world is just a me system. Everything revolves around me. And because everything exists for me, I'm the enjoyer of everything, so therefore everything is mine. Because what does it mean to own something? It means that you have power over it. You have power over it, therefore it's yours. So, the idea that another soul belongs to me, if you think about it, it's really bizarre. Obviously someone who thinks that I'm a soul and this other soul actually belongs to me, you can see that is not a healthy state of consciousness. Someone like that definitely needs help. When we think like that, so why would we think something so ridiculous, like some other soul belongs to me? Well, because, of course, we're attached to our bodies. And what are the bodies? The bodies are just these little mode machines. The guna? And it's like we have all these little gunometers inside in our body, that measure the guna. So it's like, some of you are too young for that, but anyway, the Terminator movies.
No, we're not too young for that.
Okay. Terminator would come, for some reason, amazingly, these future civilizations could actually send this very sophisticated robot back to the past, but they couldn't send a shirt and a pair of pants. You'd think it wouldn't be so difficult to send some clothes with it. Anyway, so then he looks for a match. So basically, the way Krishna explains our material life, guna guneshu vartanta, is that our bodies are just these mode monsters. Our bodies are composed of the modes of nature, and they're always seeking mode matches. And so if you think about it, when you meet someone, it's like, no way. Or maybe. Oh yeah. So, and it's like we have these little guna computers inside of us. And whether it's like another person, food, a place, like I could never live here, or I would give anything to own this house. And so that's what's basically happening. In the material world, you're just like walking around with these little guna goggles on, and just, just calculating everything. Everything we come in contact with, it's a match, not a match, maybe, no way. And then if we really get like oh my God, this is a guna match, then we go after, I need that, I want that. Or we become repulsed. Something we hate, we despise. And so that's all we're doing. It's just like